Hey everyone! We ended up doing a bunch of stitching today, and I have to stitch one more set of the pinwheel halves to complete the pinwheels. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I was thinking I'm going to try and do the borders. I'm going to try and get the whole thing done. Wouldn't that be amazing? So these are the first halves, and I have to trim them down, and I will do that in a little bit. But before I do that, let me trim this, and then we are going to rehoop. We're going to rehoop, and then I can do some pressing and all of that while we are stitching. This is my 5x7 hoop. And here we go. Whoop. We want one big. This is my 5x7 magnetic hoop. We want one big on top and one big on the bottom. Tight but not taut. We are hooped up. I'm going to go ahead and make this so it doesn't curl under by accident. And let's go on over to the machine, which I'm just turning back on. And for this, these are the fabrics we're going to use. The Blue Tufted Star and Ice Castle. All right, here we go. So I'm going to go into embroidery. I turned it off, so I have to reload it. That's where you bring in design database transfer. And it's all the way down here at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and set it. And I am using my 5x7 hoop. 5x7. That'll be my max speed with this hoop. And that looks perfect. Let's grab the hoop. I don't know why I have that song in my head. Oh, my darling Clementine. So when I was growing up, I'll tell you my little story of the day once I get this all loaded. So we're going to go embroidery. It's filling up the entire hoop, so I'm just going to leave it right where it is. And I'm going to go here where you can go forward and backward stitches. And I'm going to say okay. And let's go ahead and start stitching. However, I need thread in my machine. Right now, I have in there my quilting thread, which I don't want to use for this. And I've already forgotten what color. I think we're just going to be using white. White. Yes. So let me go ahead and put in my white thread. I'm going to take out my quilting thread. So growing up, we had like this little compact record player. It was like, kind of like a box, and you would fold out the speakers. And we literally had like one album. My parents had a couple of like traditional Korean albums. And then we had one album that had, just regular songs in English. And, okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit start. It is going to do the template. So it's stitching this out right now. And when we lay down, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll show you on the fabric. That'll be easier. And I used to listen to that album all the time. And it had songs on it like Hey Sarah, Sarah, and She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain. And she wore an itsy bitsy yellow polka dot itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini. And I loved that album. Anyways, so sometimes these songs just pop into my head. Even though I haven't listened to that album for probably who knows? How old am I now? 55, So I was probably like 10 when I listened to that, so 45 years. Crazy! All right, let me get my spray tan. We're going to spray our fabric. Lay it down. For it, itsy bitsy teeny weeny. All right, pour the fabric. Wrong side of all Pinwheel 1 fabric. I definitely didn't put it on the back of this. I'm not going to. It'll be okay. Oh, and I didn't put it on the back of this either. So I didn't put it... Oh, it said just Pinwheel 1. That seems silly to me. Like, why wouldn't it have you put it on Ice Castle? Ice Castle's really, really light. And when you lay it down on top of this, it totally shadows through. So, anyways... It'll be easier to deal with. Interesting. And here's my spray. I'm going to give it a little shot of spray. All right. First thing that we're going to lay down. So here is the way we're going to lay our fabric down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to start right here with this one, and we're going to work our way around. So the first piece that's going to go down is going to be Ice Castle. And I have a little puckering here. Don't worry. Everything will look amazing once we press everything out. I'm not worried about it. So it's going to go right over this square, that first square, and I'm just going to lay it down a little bit further up. And first thing it's going to do is it's going to do the trim line. Get your snips. We're not adding batting until after we piece it together and we do the quilting. All right, you're going to just trim everything to the right. Now we're going to lay down one of our blues. That trim line is now our placement line. So lay it down, and I'm going to get my pokey guy. Hold it down here. Start and hold it down on the other end. I sprayed this so it'll stick to the bottom of the foot. But you kind of want to spray it before it goes in the hoop. And that way I don't have to spray it right now. This is a 3-minute stitch out. Not very long. I'm going to take this and I'm going to finger fold it, which means for me fingernail fold and press it back. And that adhesive will keep it down. Now we're going to do the next trim line. Trim line next. It's going to go just straight up. And now we're going to trim everything to the right of that. And I pretend that there's a straight line that extends down here and all the way up to the top. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and trim all of that. And I'm even going to trim this part right here. Okay, lay down your next piece. It's going to be one of these. Now you will see, so here's the stitching. It's right here and here. So you're going to center the fabric to that. And don't leave it where the blue's sticking out. You're going to cover the blue. Just go ahead and cover that blue. And that's going to help with some of the shadowing. So that is now your placement line. So make sure that all of the Ice Castle covers over the mint green, covers that. And that's going to help where you're not going to see the blue underneath. Okay? Just like that. Just like that. We're going to go ahead, finger press. And because we sprayed, we're just going to lay that down. And now it's going to do the next trim line, which will also be your placement line. Get your little spatula so you can Now we're going to trim everything here and down. We're going to remove that. This is our trim line first, and then that same trim line becomes your... Oh, I cut some of those stitches. That's okay. And then I'm going to pretend like this extends this way. So there's my trim line. Now it's my placement line. So the stitch is from here to here, okay? Right where the stitches are. So I'm going to go ahead and center to that. Slide it back on. And because there's adhesive on here, I'm going to hold it down right here so that doesn't move. I'm going to hold it at the left. Once it tacks it down on the right-hand side, you can just hold it over here on the left-hand side. You don't have to hold it down in both spots once it's secured one end down. Okay, we're going to take this and we are going to fold it over. Little finger press. And it's too bad there's no way to finish the pinwheel, like complete the pinwheel pieced in the hoop. And next thing it's going to do, it's going to do an outline stitch around the whole top. And now we're going to do the bottom part. We're just going to repeat. We're going to start with this triangle, then this one, and this one. Okay, before we start though, I am going to trim a little bit off of the top. I'll leave about 1/2 inch outside of the outline. And we're going to place a piece of fabric right here. I didn't spray all of this, so I'm going to go ahead and spray these 2 pieces. All right, gonna lay it down and cover that first triangle right down here. So I'm gonna lay it down just like that. And it's gonna do my trim line first. And then I'm gonna do the borders. We're just gonna get it done. I feel like finishing this. Okay, trim line. Now that line becomes your placement line. We're going to lay this one down and just center it to that line. Okay, you're going to hold it down right where the needle is going to start sewing, and then you're going to hold it down at the other end. Once this end is secure, you can let go, and then we're just going to hold it at the other end. And then fold it over. Give it a nice little finger fold. Press it down because I sprayed it. And now we're going to do the trim line. This is all in your, it's all in the instructions. But I feel like it's easier just to talk your way through it. But you can be looking at your instructions too if I'm confusing you. Okay, now we're going to trim right down that line, right to the left of it. And I pretend that line extends all the way to the top and the bottom. And when we do that, when we place this and fold it over, it essentially sews a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So don't leave it like this where you can see the blue. Make sure that you pull this all the way over the blue, even if you go past where it normally would be, and that way you won't have that blue shadowing through because we didn't put any SF101 on it. I'm going to hold it down right here. Start. I'm going to hold it at the top. Once it's secure, I'm going to let go with my little spatula. Okay, let's go ahead and fold it over. Finger press. Finger press. And now it's going to do another trim line. This is the last trim line. Bring that towards me so I can actually get my hand in there. Let's go ahead and trim this. As though there's an invisible line that goes all the way. And here's our actual stitch. That's what we're going to center to. We're not centering to this. We're centering to just where the stitches were, because that's now our placement line. So I'm going to center to that. And let's go ahead and fold it back. You can use a folding pen. You can take it out and iron it if that makes you feel better. Okay, now it's going to go ahead and it's going to do the outline stitch around the whole thing, and that's what we're going to fussy cut to. And that one's almost done. We're going to go ahead and press it, and then we will sew it together. While I'm like pressing and sewing together all the fabric, let's go ahead and let's do our borders. So that's the rest of the pinwheel. We are done stitching all of the block like stuff. And now we're going to move on to the borders. Okay, so we have the inner border. I'll show that to you. And depending on your kit, you may have, this is the navy blue chevron. For mine, my inner border is going to be this light gray. And we're going to be embroidering that inner border right there. Two of them are, I think, 18.5 inches and 2 are 20.5 inches. And for some reason, I cut them all apart because I was on autopilot. Normally, I would just keep that all in one piece. I would have like the pieces underneath. Sometimes I will cut those to fit the size, and then I'll lay this all down in one piece, but I didn't do it this time. So I do have my batting pieces pre-cut. Here they are, and I cut them to 1.25 inches. And then these are the border pieces. I'm going to be doing them all in one hooping. Well, 2 hoopings, and I'm doing it in my 7x12 hoop because they'll all fit in there. So let's go ahead. I'm going to slide this on. We are going to load our design. I'm going to go home. And like I said, we're going to do 2 hoopings. Let's go embroidery, pocket. And I'm going to go right here where I go for design database transfer. And then the design we're looking for is going to be right here. Sometimes it's easier for me to show it to you. Let It Snow. So that's the one that we want. And it's I've loaded a couple different ones. What I decided to do when I put on the spreadsheet is I'm going to do 2 hoopings of the 1.5 by 11.74 size. And it's going to be longer. It's going to be way longer than you need for this one and a little bit longer than that one. But it's just going to be easier. I can just cut it down. I was going to try the other numbers. Like we could have done this one and then we could have added... you know, whatever size to make the numbers right. But I thought it would just be easier to do 2 hoopings of these. So let's come down here and we're looking for the design. That one is too big. Oh, we need these skinnies. We need the skinny minis. That one, 1.5 by 11.74. So I'm going to go ahead and set that. Let's choose my hoop size. I'm going to come up here. And I'm going to choose 7 by 12 and let's say okay. And edit, move, and I'm not going to move it with my finger. I'm just going to scoot it over. Okay. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to add another one. I'm going to go to my move keys and I'm going to center it so I know that I'm right in the middle and I'm not too high and not too low. And that might be good. Okay, add another one. Move keys, center. Okay, add another one. Move keys, center, and all the way to the right. And the spacing here matters for sure in between them because you're going to cut 1/8 of an inch outside of the tack down. So it does matter where those go. But if you look at it, it all looks pretty evenly spaced to me. And then you can also zoom in. Let's zoom into 200%. And you can kind of count the number of boxes in between them. Ooh, this one, there's way more space between these two than that one. So I'm going to take this one. Ooh. I don't know. Maybe that is even. That's like 1, 2, probably 3. And then this one is 1, 2. I guess this one has the most. That's good enough. I think that's going to, but just make sure something's not really, really close because you are going to be cutting into this area right there. Okay, I'm going to go back to 100%. That looks good to me. We're going to do this 2 times. So I'm going to say okay. I'm going to touch embroidery. And then the first thing we're going to do is we are going to do our placement stitch for the batting. We are going to do that. Where's my thread? I redid my thread drawer. And I put my thread all the way over here. Let me grab it. I am going to put in pink lemonade because I can see it, but it's not going to be too dark. Pink lemonade, pink lemonade. Here we go. Oh, and the other thing I want to do, let's color group. Nothing is touching, so we can color group. I'm going to touch layout, and this is going to make my color grouping button. And now it's going to do all the placement first, then all the tack downs and everything. So we won't have to change colors as often. Okay, while it's doing that, I'm going to give my fabric and my batting a shot of spray. I have my spray box out because sometimes the spray tent is not big enough. This is an old snap hoop box. Snappy hoop. And I did cut these, I think, different sizes. Oh, look it. I cut them down. I should have just... Oh, no, this is right because I'll do one and then the other. Hopefully they're the right size, but they might not be. And I'm not worried about it. I'll just abut more batting. Oh, I did do some smaller. I think I was thinking I was going to do this a different way, and that's why I cut them like this, but it's okay. I might have to add some more. I was confused. Oh, I do have to spray the top pieces too, don't I? All right, back to the spray box. Are these two short ones? No, those are the long ones, and then I have two shorts. I was just making sure my clips weren't getting stuck on the edge of the sewing machine. Okay, I want these sprayed really, really well. All right, holding my breath. Let's go ahead and I'm going to lay down my two shorts first. So I'm going to put the batting right in the placement line. And mine's going to hang over the edges the tiniest bit. And I like to look from underneath just to make sure that I have an equal amount of fabric left and right. Oh, and I actually didn't have to spray everything, but I did. Oh, hang on. Before I do that, sorry. We want to do the placement line for the fabric too, okay? And I don't want that down there because that's going to get in the way. So I'm going to go to this button right here. I am going to skip that for the tack down. And I am going to go to the next grouping of the blue. And that's going to be the placement stitch for the background fabric. Or I could kind of center this down on top of it and just do the tack down. Should I do that? Should I do that? I'm going to do this too. And then it just can be more precise. So this is going to be the background placement line. Since it's so close, it would be nice to have just laid down one piece of fabric on top of the whole thing. Take that gray dot fabric and put it down on the whole thing. Just put your batting down in the strips. With the other one, with our other borders, I'm leaving my batting all in one piece. Lots of different ways to do this. Okay, we're going to try this again. Lay this down the very middle. Lay the batting down the very middle. And now I have those outside lines for more perspective. Okay. I'm going to do the next one. I'm doing this. Okay. I'm putting this right to the edge on the top, not past it, but right to the top edge of the batting placement line. Next piece. Here we go. And last one. Okay, now as far as the fabric goes, I have my short 2 pieces here, so I'll put these on this end. And I am going to go about 1/4 of an inch past the top. 1/4 of an inch past the top. There's the top. Let's bump it up just a little bit. Now I do want to see underneath here. And again, I'm looking underneath to make sure these are going. Yes, and it would have been so much smarter to leave this all in one piece, and I didn't, but it's okay. You are going to want to use your spatula to hold stuff down. Just making sure the pink, there's about 1/4 of an inch on either side of the pink. Okay, next piece. We're going to do the tack down and then the quilting stitch. Okay. All right, here we go. Everything's laid down. Do you see how silly that was for me to trim all of these? Leave them in one piece. All right, let's go ahead. We are going to do the next step. That's going to be the tack down for each of these, and you just want that. Leave in a color that you can see because you're going to fussy cut to this, and you're going to cut 1/4 inch outside of this line. Get your spatula, get something that you can reach in just in case anything starts to go askew. And I can't find mine. How did I lose it? Where are you? Oh, I put it back in the little holder thingamajiggy. It does want to push that fabric kind of over to the left, so I really like to kind of pull it over to the right. And we're going to be trimming 1/8 of an inch outside of that line. Just smoothing the fabric as it comes down. And then I'm just going to kind of push it over to the right as it goes up. Otherwise, it'll want to give it a little bubble like that one. See how the rest are so much flatter? And it'll be perfect once it does the stitching. Okay, we're going to put our thread in for the stitching. I'm going to go ahead and put in my mint green hollow shimmer. If I can find it, here it is. It's so gorgeous. Sorry, I'll get that back in focus in just a second. Let me get her threaded up. Oop. We heard an epic battle outside one night, and we didn't know what it was. And we have a friend who's a biologist here in Reno. And what he thought, you know, because Poppy started losing it one day, and he thinks that it was a fox catching something. Because there was a fox, there was an owl, there was something crying. I was just reminded because I could hear the coyotes crying. I didn't even turn my speed down, so we might have some breakage. We might not. And this is going to be 8 minutes of stitching, 2 minutes for each one of these strips, and then we're going to rehoop. That's absolutely adorable. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, so the two smaller ones are going to be, what are they? They're 18 and a half total. This is a little puffy right here. Let's just make sure it doesn't come towards me. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the other sizing because maybe we'll do something different. So this tack down line is really important because that's what we're going to trim 1/8 of an inch outside of on both sides. Well, 1/8 of an inch on one side, and then from that side you'll measure over 1.5 inches to the other side. It's normally what I do. Whoop. Okay. My thread started to get all coiled, so I was expecting that. Hang on just a second. I'm going to just take this out and... Okay. Let me pull out all the kinks. Okay, let's go back 20. Okay, last one. Then we're going to take it out, trim back the muslin, and then we'll rehoop. Okay, I'm going to use my trimmer by George. Let me get that ready. All right, we're done with that section. You know what? I will leave it right there because I don't want to have to adjust the placement of the next grouping. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and take off the magnets. It's pretty darn cute though, isn't it? I was going to call it stinking cute. Okay, here's your trimmer by George. What you do is you cut from the top side. I do not sell trimmer by George. You can go on and purchase it from Hoop Sisters. So Hoop Sisters sells it. You're going to pull all of this back. Yes, this is way more complicated than it should be. Because I shouldn't have trimmed that. And look at my batting's not going to be long enough for the for this side. I'd actually trim my batting to accommodate. For some reason, I thought it was going to be 16.5. Take your trimmer by George. It has a little lip on it. You're going to put it, and that's going to protect the batting and the fabric underneath. You're going to snug it back. Don't snug it back too aggressively, and you're going to want to use your 60mm cutter. This is when you need a 45 smaller, and you have to get it up and over this edge. Lean it a little bit. Don't do it straight up. You're actually leaning it like this. I know that's a little exaggerated. And then you're going to just take that away, and you're going to be left with something that looks like this, and we're ready to rehoop. Okay, here we go. Hoopy hoop. Passengers, stuff sticks to these magnetic hoops. You got to be careful. Okay, we're hooped and ready to go. I'm going to put this back on the machine. We'll do our placement stitch, and we're going to not, stitch all the way to the end for all of this. Guess what? I'm going to need like a little bit more batting too, because unfortunately, I cut mine to accommodate a strip that was 16.5 and not 18.5. All right. I think we're ready. Let me go ahead and I'm going to put in my, pink lemonade thread again. I'm going to use that as my color. And I'm pulling all the kinks out of my Hala Shimmer. Hala, hala, hala shimmer. Okay, placement. So I'm going to do both placement stitches, batting placement, and then I'm going to do the fabric placement. And if I'd kept that fabric all in one piece, we would be doing batting placement, placing our batting, and then laying one big piece of the gray all the way down on top. So much easier. I just like you to suffer sometimes. It's my gift to you. Life is suffering. I think that's what Buddha said. That's what I always say to poor Kai, because he struggles. He's like his mother. I'm going to give you a lesson how to turn lemons into lemonade. I should be doing some other stuff while this is going on, shouldn't I? So while this is happening, because this I don't really have to sit and watch, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to press out the pieces that I have done. So let's turn on my iron. This is just water in here. Not a lot left. And then let me grab all of these pieces. And I'm going to cut them apart from the back side in between the embroideries. And then I'm going to press the heck out of them. So let's go ahead and separate them out first. Why don't I use these scissors instead? This we're going to be laying down in a second. But for right now, we can just put it to the side. These we have to sew together. So we have to press them, and then we're going to sew them together. Okay, that's my last one. And then we'll fast forward. I'm going to leave at least 1/4 of an inch outside of these. All right. Next thing we want to do, I'm going to skip all of these. And I'm going to do the placement for the background. So I am going to go ahead and do that just to help me lay down those strips a little better. And then let's come on back over here. 1/4 of an inch should be enough. Okay, let's spray and press. I like to spray from the back side down into a wool mat. And just press until it's dry and flat. It should look just like that, and then we'll trim. Okay, before we do that though, we are gonna lay down the fabric and do the rest of the stitching for our borders. I'm gonna give this another little shot of spray. So when you spray it, you're gonna wanna put it right side up like this, and you're gonna flip these back, okay? And you don't want to get the spray all over the front side of your stuff. So just be careful with that. You can also, do I have something junky I could put under here? I don't. But I'm just going to do this and spray this. Try to control that a little bit. Now I'm going to sneak it up to the top side of this. Oh, God, it's all sticking to me. And when I say that, I mean, I'll just slide it around into the back underneath here. Just like this. And I'm just going to get this in line with the pink line. I'm about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch away. Just going to lay it down. Right down the center, like we did with the other one. I got to move my camera because I can't see. It's right in front of my face. This one is going to be long enough to go to the end of the block. It's not long enough because we're not going to stitch this whole thing. I'm going to lay this one down next. And then we'll lay the fabric down. Ooh, let's get him over. And that I don't think is going to quite be long enough. So I have another piece right here. Let me just cut off the ends. The ends. I know. I miscalculated. 2 inches. So this is how you make it work. You're just going to cut off a little piece. And you're just going to add it on. And nobody's going to know. Same thing with this one. Just a little miscalculation. I'm going to abut those. Okay, these pieces are going to lay down right on top. And this is all you have to quilt, just to the end of the fabric. Let me do this one first. Whoops, sorry. That was my glasses hitting the filming arm. I guess I should lay it down from this side. This side first. Am I too far over? Oh yeah, I am. I wasn't down in the middle. There we go. All right. And this, I am not down in the middle. I am over too far. There we go. Alrighty. This too. There we go. Much better. Think about how much easier that would be if I had it all in one piece. It would be so much easier. And then this one. Okay, there we go. So I think we should be pretty spot on right now. And let's go ahead and do our quilting. We only have to go to the end of these strips again. So next thing we want to do is we are going to do this step. That is going to be the tack down. And I want you to grab something that you can reach in with. That's not going to be your finger. Reach in up with your finger. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to cut. I'm going to hit plus 10s until I'm over to the next side. And plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, and plus 10. Oop. Plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. Let me see. I'm going to put my foot down, and I think we're good. I think we're on the fabric. Okay, now remember again. I'm going to keep it out over here. Perfect. And it didn't quite stitch down over here, but that's okay. We'll trim this side and then we'll just measure over. All right, I'm going to cut. And then on my screen, I'm going to hit plus 10s until I get close. And then I'm going to hit the plus 1s. Oop, too far. Minus, minus. It's a little far. +1. There we go. All right. I'm going to stop it when it goes right off the edge. I'm going to cut my cut bent. I'm going to hit my +10s. That looks pretty good. Let me put my foot down. Ooh, we're kind of far. +1, +1. Let's put our foot down there. Oh, perfect. -1. All right, here we go. Off the edge, cut. Then I'm going to hit my +10s. +1, +1, +1. That looks pretty good. Looks great. I think I'm a little close. My snowflakes, my mittens might start on my my snowflakes, but that's okay. We're gonna stitch. Let me go ahead, change out my thread. We're gonna put our quilting thread in, and we are gonna quilt down to where we're almost headed off the fabric. Where did I put my thread? I can see it. Oh, it's way over here. Here we go. Okay, once it comes down here and it goes off the fabric, I'll stop and cut. And as long as you have one good side, don't worry about the other side. I'm cutting, and now I'm gonna hit +100 because there's a lot more stitching here. +100, +100. Okay, maybe we'll start right there. Maybe we'll do a +10, and another +10, and another +10. That looks pretty good. Same thing. Okay, once I go off, we'll go ahead and cut. And now let's hit my plus 100s. So on my screen, and I'm on this screen right here, and you can kind of see where it's right there. There's the little T that shows you where your needle is. Okay, but it's easier for me to look here to see where I am, so I'm going to come back over here. And let's hit plus 100, and maybe we'll just go plus 10s. That looks pretty close. Plus 1. Let's put my foot down. That looks good. There we go. Back on the fabric. Two more. These got a little bit closer as we were stitching. So my mitten might overlap the snowflake a little bit on these two. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut. I'm going to hit my plus 100s. Oop, too much. So let's go minus 10s. That looks good. We'll start right there. All right, and the last one, here we go. And I'm gonna do my, I'll do my outer border tomorrow. That one will be a lot easier because I did keep my fabric all in one piece. and my batting all in one piece. So we'll just do one batting placement line, lay it all down, and then we'll lay down our fabric. All right, go ahead and cut. Let's hit my plus 100s. And then minus. And that looks pretty good right there. We'll go ahead and start. And that is, I'm totally fine with that because that is right where the mitten would have gone into the snowflake. And that was a blessing of a break. And for me, I'm not putting this stuff through the laundry. It's going to come out, get hung up, and then it's going to be put away again. So I am not worried about that coming off. And that was just how it was meant to be. So we are done with the inner borders. Tomorrow I will, well, if I have a chance, if I don't, this week I will do, I will rehoop and I will do the outer borders. But aren't these adorable? Adorable. So cute. I love it. And we'll press and trim those out. And I will see you for the outer borders. Bye, guys.